Welcome back to Sailing El Jaleo. It's time to get this darn project wrapped up. So this week we get the fiberglass reinforced panels cut out and affixed to the walls, and we get the toilet finally fully installed and test it. I guess we might as well go ahead and get right into it. Grab a drink, climb aboard, and let's get going. Which one of those wires is red and which one is brown? I can't tell the difference. They look basically identical to me. They look like they're just slightly different shades of the same color. So yeah, I'm kind of lost on this one. I had to take it home and have my mom help. But anyway, one thing that I've learned in all of the crap that I've installed is to think about stuff before you do it. And there are so many times I didn't think about stuff before I did it that it just led to more frustrating work in the future. So this toilet has two pumps, and one is a flush pump, and that pump takes external water, so it takes salt water or fresh water from the outside and pumps it into the bowl, and that flushes the bowl. And on the bottom of the toilet there's the macerating discharge pump, and that takes your solids and turns it into a liquid and sends it to the storage tank. So the wiring for all of this is kind of tricky. So the pumps are located, probably 6 feet apart from each other. So I've learned long ago to start extending wires before you mount pumps, because trying to extend wires when pumps are mounted in a tight space never works out well. After extending the pump wires, it was time to get the toilet base fixed in place, and I used 3M 4200 for that task. I didn't show the step, but I actually took 4200 and I squirted it. It's like a caulk. I squirted it all around the base there, and I had to come back in and do a little touch up. The base, with the fiberglass and the bolts that came through to hold the horizontal supports underneath, so the base was a little bit uneven. It wasn't completely flush. So the 4200 is a semi-permanent bond, and it dries really hard, so it would fill in any of those little gaps. And I actually had to come back afterwards with the caulk tube and touch it in, fill in one little gap and then smooth it out. After getting the toilet base fixed in place, it was time to do the job that I was dreading, and that was to install the dairy board panels onto the walls. And technically they're fiberglass reinforced panels, and I thought I'd be able to cut them with a utility knife. They're only 1/11 of an inch thick, or 0.09 inches. And I thought either a sharp pair of titanium scissors or a utility knife, if I scored it, I'd be able to snap it, and that did not work. So I looked online, and what people recommended was using a pair of power shears. I wasn't familiar with power shears, but basically it looks like a handheld drill, but it's basically like a nipper, and it's made to cut through metal. I'm assuming like a corrugated metal panel, some sort of thin metal. And it was said online that it worked really good for the FRP panel. So I bought a pair of those. I got the cheapest ones I could find. They were like $40. I got them in 2 days, and I gave it a shot. The metal shears did work. They didn't work perfectly. Sometimes they would get caught up. This material was a lot thicker than what they were intended to be used for, so you had to finesse it a little bit, but in the end it worked a lot better than anything I had tried previously. After getting the dairy board panels cut out, it was time to adhere them to the wall, and to do that we had FRP panel adhesive. And at this point my sinuses were pretty much shot. Between epoxies and epoxy paints, I just was not looking forward to facing another nasty smelling adhesive, and much to my surprise, either that or my sinuses were absolutely trashed, the FRP adhesive actually didn't stink. Sounds like a small thing, but when you've been getting your head bashed around by volatile organics all summer, it was a nice change. The FRP adhesive came in 2 different sizes, either caulk tubes or a 3-gallon pail, neither of which was very convenient. For this application anyway. By the time you bought about 4 caulk tubes, you could afford the $70 3-gallon pail of adhesive. So I think I used like a half a gallon total on all of the walls, but it is what it is. And it was pretty easy to apply. It just went on with a V-notch trowel. I think it was a 3/8 inch trowel. And you just troweled the adhesive on, then pressed the dairy board into it, and it was good to go. After getting all of the fiberglass reinforced panels put in place, you can see here it's actually looking halfway decent. So I'm kind of shocked. Normally when I do this stuff it looks like crap, but I'm actually kind of okay with the way this turned out. But anyway, it was time to do the wiring for the toilet so I could finally get the toilet bowl in place. It was the very last thing to do. And the wiring was pretty straightforward. So we had two pumps. They both had to be wired. The hots had to be wired to the switch, or the positive leads on the pump, and the negatives all had to be tied back to the negatives. So it was a lot of running back and forth with wires. The flush pump is located just on the other side of the wall, and in the back there, where you can see the cabinet that's open there, I could drill through bulkheads to go from cabinet to cabinet, so when everything's put back in place the wires are hidden, which is nice. So the switch was pretty straightforward. You can run one or both of the pumps at the same time, and the switch came pre-wired, so you basically just had to run 3 wires to the switch and then all of the negatives back to the negative. So it wasn't too complex, it just was time consuming. After the wiring was done, I completed the last little bit of plumbing, and I thought I had a video of me installing the actual toilet to the base, but apparently the camera crapped out during that, so I apologize, I don't have that, but that was a very basic step, so I think you can use your imagination on that one. Hey y'all, it is an absolute mess in here. And here is everything for the toilet. And I'm going to go ahead and open her up and test it and see what happens. See if we've got a bunch of leaks. Okay. Let's see here. I don't see any drips coming from the pump. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and see if we can, I've got the valve open. That's just a safety valve. But I'm going to go ahead and turn on, see if we can flood the bowl. There we go, that works. And let's see if we can pump it out. Oh yeah, that works really well. So this does have dual, you can just flood the bowl here. Fills her right up, which is nice. And you can just choose to evacuate the bowl. Or you can do both at the same time. That is beautiful. I don't see any leaks down here. I was kind of worried about that. That seems to be... Oh, wow. No leak there. Huh. Let's see if there's a leak around the base. No leak around the base. Well, what do you think, Fish? Does the toilet work? Check back here for some leaks. I don't see any. I think this is the first time I've ever done plumbing, and there are apparently no leaks. That's kind of got me worried. Hey y'all, so here is the finished bathroom. Well, it's not quite finished. We wouldn't finish anything all the way, would we? We actually just got back in the water today, so our plans have changed a little bit. We have to get going. So the only thing left on this project to do is to add the shower. So I've got all the fittings for that. I've got the shower head and everything. And it is a handheld, so I'm going to come through the wall right about here. Whoa. And Neptune is after something outside. So we're going to go straight through the wall here, and then we're going to have a shower head and the hot water heater. These bolts here are actually where the hot water heater is mounted on the back side. So the shower is going to come through here, and I've got these two shower curtains here, or shower rods. One's going to go right across here, and that's going to protect all of this woodworking back here and the electrics for the toilet. And then the other is going to come across here. So the other curtain rod will come across here to protect this door from getting wet. So I think it'll work out okay. It'll probably be a little while until I can get the shower head installed, but hard part is done. And you know, I've still got some marker and some glue down here to get rid of. I've got to clean up some of this stuff, but yeah, and there's some rain that came through. But all in all, I'm actually reasonably happy with how it turned out. So I hope y'all are well, and we'll see you next week. And that's all we have time for this week. I would like to give a massive shout out to my Patreon crew. Without your guys' support, I wouldn't make these videos. And my Patreon crew is Joan and Juddy Judnick, Val and Chris Alcorn, Denise and Eli Sackett, Sherry Erickson, Deb Shaw, Matthew Spotton, Peter Allen, and Natalie Linehan. Thank you guys so very much. Your support really means the world to me. I do have one legacy patron member, and her name is Joan Linbo. Unfortunately, she has passed on, but she lives on in our hearts forever. We really miss you, Joan. If you are interested in joining our Patreon crew, there is a link in the description down below, and that'll take you to our Patreon page where you can sign up. And there are hundreds, literally hundreds of extra videos and photos of our travels, and I try and keep everything there up to date and post at least once or twice a week, so it gives you a little peek behind the curtain. If you do like our videos, please like, comment, and subscribe. That'll help us out more than you'll ever know, and that actually doesn't cost you anything, so hit that like button. Alrighty, I hope you all are well, and we'll see you next week.